You have the Gemara discussion originally one long thing, and then the Gemara was printed separately and manufactured. No, it was like Midrash to divide up the Mishnah stick in relevant ways.
Meanwhile, you know that when Steinsaltz published his, there was this whole hue and cry that he was going away from Tzuras Hadaf.
Right.
What kind of Mishnah Yomish tonight?
What?
5:10 Mishnah Yomish?
No, Mishnah Brura is at 5:10.
5:45?
Mishnah Yomish is going to be at 5:30 because davening's at 5:45.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
The thing was that Steinsaltz got up. Another, it wasn't like he could have been better. He did it mahachik, but he's different than everybody else. All right.
What's interesting is that you notice, the Koran edition has both.
Yeah, the Koran has a real Gemara.
It has one part of the volume is Tzuras Hadaf, and the other part
The other
is his. No, it also has the text, but translation and commentary. No, I use both when I prepare now. I use both Art Scroll and the Koran. No. Okay.
I don't know from the Quran.
That's different book. And you know where the Arabic gets the word Quran based on?
Same place the Hebrew gets the word
Mikra.
Yeah.
That's the same term.
It's the same shara.
Yeah. Okay. Hajj. Good morning, gentlemen. We're going to start with our learning sponsors. Okay. A year of learning by Isaac and Evelyn Blachhorn, memory of his sister Chai Rachel Bas Isser, friends of Leonie Meisem and Leah Saber Bas Chanoch Zundel, friends of Mal Skotsky, Moshe Zelig Ben Mordechai. A month of learning by Mindel and David Cheslow, in memory of her father, Nehemiah Ben Mordechai Yonah Halevi, Aaron and Mel Haller, in memory of her mother, Malko Rachel Bas Yehuda Leib, Yossi Goldstein, in memory of his father, Moshe Tzvi Ben Dov, Isaac and Eda Novik, in memory of his mother, Miriam Gil Bas Hanoch Henach, Perry and Jill Meltzer, in memory of his mother, Malka Bas Baruch, and his sister Golda Leah Bas David Halevi, Tova and Leo Zimmer, in memory of her mother, Henya Bas Rebero, and her father, Aaron Ben Yosef Mordechai, B. Pizer, in memory of her husband, Harav Yisrael Chaim Ben David, Stanley Presser, in memory of his mother, Leah Bas Yehuda, his mother-in-law, Golda Bas Leber, and his wife, Ruchel Mincha Bas Moshe. Rabbi Dr. Yankee and Mariki Honig, in memory of his mother, Rabbanit Hencha Ita Bat Chaim Yehuda. David and Sharon Carpel, Rabbi Tzvi and Robin Carpel. A mistake. In memory of David and Tzvi's father, Zeb Moshe ben Shlomo Yaakov. A week of learning by Beverly Hersko, in memory of her father, Yisrael ben Chaim Tzvi. Marty and Judy Engel, in memory of his mother, at the Sarah Bas Ephraim Fischel Halevi. Sherry and Moshe Gross, in memory of her mother, Miriam Bas Meir. Barbara Gallendauer, in memory of her husband, Avram ben Yonatan. Today is actually the 29th of January. There are no individual days of learning today. May Hashem seven Aliyah, Crank Rav Him, Velta Yeshua Shem Matzliah, and the Chol B'nai Yisrael a good Gaben Shtia. Okay. All right. Yesterday's shiur left off on Hey Amud Beis, about 5 lines from the bottom. Okay. Okay. So just a very quick review and intro, and then we'll move on. Okay. Basically, we have, if I understood it correctly, a machloket between Rav Matana and Bar Pada. Okay. The question being, number one, whether a Stam Nazirut, as our Mishnah initially began, was 30 days. Okay, and therefore one needed to wait and on the 31st day do what was necessary to complete their Nazirus, which would mean bring their korbanos and get their haircut, etc. Okay, or whether the view was no, that it was 29 days. Okay, and then that on the 30th day, okay, at least part of the day, yomo kekulo, that part of the day could be considered sufficient, and because at some point you'd still be observing the Nazirus, and that therefore then, okay, then one would go on that day and bring their korbanos and get their haircut. Either way, both are saying the total period of time is 30 days, okay? Because if you hold miktsas yomo kekulo, okay, even though you've had 29, okay, it sort of rolls over to that 30th day, and it's some part of that day, you certainly are going to still be observing one's Nazir. Okay.
Yeah, we're all familiar with that concept of Shiva.
Exactly, right. That's probably where we're most familiar with, right, unfortunately. Okay, now, all right, so that's.
How do you decide when you use that concept? Do you say it on Shabbos, like the Shabbos, why don't
You want to go to the
why
show?
don't you?
Because the Torah tells us Shabbos is a whole day.
Okay, all right, so that's a good question, Chaim. So let's come back and use that as an entry back into our Gemara.
Why do you want to end Shabbos
Okay.
early?
All right, it's not a question of Shabbos, okay? What we want to understand is that's why the Gemara then raises the point that that when the person says they're being a Nazir, depending on how they make their statement, it may be that their intent, either they may say it explicitly, or their intent may be shleimim. Okay, that's what the Gemara tells us, that it's a complete 30-day period. Okay, right? We're going to get to that. You're way ahead of us already, Mike. Okay, so let's not bring that in just yet. Okay, so what happens? Okay, see, so both Rav Matana and Bar Pada accept the idea that we're talking about somehow it's going to be 30 days, either 30 days straight, complete, or it's 29 days and a little extra on the 30th day, okay? And in that case,
Well, it's actually more than a little.
it's got to be part of the day. Right, right. Okay. Okay, so what happens? All right, so one of them is going to accept miktsat yomo kekulo. Rav Matana does. Bar Pada does not accept miktsat yomo kekulo.
The other way around.
Okay, no,
The
don't
other way
think.
around.
Let's go back and we'll
Pada
double.
lets you do it on
We'll
the
see.
30th and,
But the
Rav
point,
Matana-
well, hold on. Okay, we'll see. Okay, so what happens then? So that's where our Gemara is. Okay, and we keep coming back to the fact that we're going to challenge one initially, then we're going to challenge the other initially. Okay, so having just quickly reviewed that, okay, we saw a Mishnah. Okay, we saw a Braita actually that ended with the words, right, Shloimim l'Rav Matana Kashase Kasavar Miktsat Hayom Kekulo. Why? So that was telling us that it's apparently that Rav Matana does hold Miktsat Yomo Kekulo. That's where we're ending. And apparently Rav Bar Pada would not. Okay. Now, it's none. Okay. So again, I'm picking up, okay, on Hey Amud Beis. Okay. As I said, 5 lines from the bottom. It's none. Okay. Hareini Nazir Shloshim Yom. What when a person declares that they're going to be a Nazirite for 30 days? Im Gilach Yom Shloshim. Okay. Lo Yetza. Okay. It would appear that if he took his haircut on the 30th day, okay, that according to this Braita, he has not completed his 30-day Nazirite term. Be'omer shleimim. No, the answer that the challenge, the other view, okay, would be no. That's when the person said they have to be 30 complete days.
What about when he starts? Does he have to start in the morning?
Starts when he says it.
So if he
Once
says-
he declares, okay, that's when it's
So
called.
if it's 4 o'clock in the afternoon, it counts as one day?
Yeah.
So mix us, so we do learn in the beginning.
Well, we'll see. So what happens? So Be'omer Shleimim, we say. Now, furthermore, another bright. Snan utat, Misha Nazar, Shnei Nazirot, okay, one who took a vow, okay, of what I'm going to call 2 terms of Nazariteship, okay, 2 30-day terms, okay,
2 terms.
okay. We're going to see what it means, 30 days. That's the point, okay. Ordinarily, by the Mishnah itself, we would think 2 terms would mean 30-day periods, and logic would make us think, if that's the case, then to finish the first term on day 31, he would need to do what? 2 consecutive terms, correct. Day 31, he would need to bring his korbanos and to get his haircut. Okay, and then what would be the end of the second term? Okay, it would appear to be, from that logic, day 61. If you were to hold, however, okay, as one of our authorities claims, Miktsat Yomo Kekulo, then day 31 could be both the end of the first term as well as the beginning of the second.
If you hold, you can double it up.
Exactly. If you hold Miktsat Yomo Kekulo,
Twice.
okay? You use it both to finish the first term and to start the second,
If we hold mix us.
if you hold that.
Why can't he take his haircut in the afternoon on the 30th?
Let's see.
Well, he's quoting a Mishnah.
Okay, he's got the text.
You can.
Okay, so what happens? Mi shenazar shnei nazirot, 2 consecutive terms of nazirut. What happens? The text goes on. Megalech et harishona yom shloshim ve'echad. Okay, he brings his offerings and gets his haircut on day 31.
Which is opposed to
Okay, all right. Vahashniya, and regarding the second term, Liyom Shishim Ve'echad, on the 61st day, just as we logically surmise. Okay. However, the Gemara goes on, based on this text, what happens? Bishlema Rav Matana Necha. Regarding Rav Matana, that's acceptable. Okay, because he indicated that it's got to be 30 days. Okay, so why he has to finish, he has to wait to day 31 to finish the first term.
becomes day 1.
Okay, and then, okay, and that also, since it implied earlier that he's the one who accepts Mitzvah yomo kekulo, then on that day 31, he can also begin his second term of Nazarethship. Okay, and therefore he would end that on day 61. Okay, so that Braita or that Mishnah works fine for him. Okay, yes, Alan.
She ended up, I mean, if you're giving the first Naziros 31 days, if you start the second one on the 31st day, it should only end on the 62nd day, not the 61st. Because you have to give each
Do
one of
the
them
count
31
now.
days.
31 is what? So 60 is the end.
Is the 60 is the end, is the 30th.
No, you say
So
31st is
60
both the end of the first and the beginning of the second.
No, 31st is both the beginning and end of the
31st
first
day is the end of the first
and the beginning of the second.
When you bring the carpenter taking their haircut, you start on the second already that day?
Okay, he's got to wait till he finishes the completion of the first term before he can start the second term. Okay, all right, so what happens? However, the Gemara now goes to today's daf. Ella, the bar pada, but in regards to bar pada, okay, what was his view? Okay, it appeared that bar pada did not accept mitzat yomo kikulo, number one. He was also the one who said that it's only 29 days, okay, and that therefore one could get their korbanos and their haircut on the 30th day.
No, on the 29th.
No, on the 30th day. Because to him, 30th day was Rabbanan and not the Oraita. That was the difference. Okay? Okay, and therefore this Mishnah is problematic, okay, for him. Okay? Kasha. Okay, so what happens? I'm gonna hold on 1 second. Rebecca, I've got it for
Right.
My comment says.
Okay. Yeah, it should be where the.
This guy.
I think I marked.
Yeah,
So what happens now is we start. Okay. All right, so the question is Elila bar pada kasha, that's problematic. So what answer can bar pada do? Okay, amar lech bar pada, what would he say? Ema seifa. I might say that consider the end of the Mishnah, where it says ve'im gilach et harishona liyom shloshim, right? That where one is able to get his haircut on the 30th day, megaleach et hashniya liyom shishim. That's the case, then they would be able to get the haircut to conclude the second term of Nazarethship on the 60th day, right? Because he's arguing that the Naziris is actually, again, only 29 days, and the 30th day is the Rabbanan. That's his perspective.
Rabbi,
Yes.
how would we work out joyful
Ah,
and seven?
let's put that aside for now. Sid, okay?
Okay, I just want you to understand there's a.
Right? Okay. All right. Okay. So Ela Seifa, Messiah. So that would seem that in that case, the end of that Braita supports Bar Pada, Reisha, okay, Messiah, but Reisha, but where the view, where the beginning of that Braita or Mishnah said 31st day and 61st day, Ba'omer Shlemim, that we would, in order to understand it and fit it, okay, we would have to say that the person, when they made their vow, said complete days. Okay? Ula Rav Matna. And what about Ravna? Matna. Fine if the end of that Mishnah supports Bar Pada, what about his view? Who said it was 31 and 61? Okay, who we said that was his view. Kasha Sefer. Then the end of that Mishnah is problematic. So what would he answer in that situation? Amarlach Rav Matna. Rav Matna would answer to as follows: Kidikatani Sefer, as it was taught again, still in the end of the Mishnah. Yom Shloshim Ole Lekan Ulekan. Namely, since Rav Matna was the one who held Miktsat Yomo Kekulo, he could argue that that 30th day both acts as the conclusion of the first term, as well as the beginning of the second term of Nazarethship. Okay? So the Gemara now asks, Mai, what's the end result? Okay? Miktsat Hayom Kekulo. Do we really hold then that this concept, I'll say, of Miktsat Yomo Kekulo is applicable here? Okay, as Michael pointed out, we're normally familiar with it only in regards to Avelis. Okay, and I unless somebody else can think of another
Motion, all those, but it usually is only counts for one day.
Right. Okay. All right. So, right. Usually it's the day when they finish Avelis, right? Ha Amra Chada Zimna. But we've said this, we've applied this once already. We learned it once. So why is it brought in here again? Okay. Mahu Detema. Okay. So the answer, the Gemara says, why are we giving this? If we already discussed, okay, Miktsat Hayom Kekulo as an explanation, why does it apply here in regards to this Mishnah of two terms? Okay, the answer is Hani Mili Le'inyan Chada Nazirus. It's possible that we may have considered that it only applied to a situation of a single term of Nazarethship. Aval L'shtei Nazirot lo. But to a consecutive two terms, we might thought, well, you couldn't apply the phrase Miktsat Hayom Kekulo. Why? Because as we just said, normally it applies only to a single day and not to two different time frames. Okay? Kamash Malan comes to teach us that's not the case. Okay? Okay, so Rav Matana has given us his answer, and Bar Pada has given us his answer. Okay, and they both at this point continue to hold different time frames, okay, as we said initially. Tanan. So now we get to a new piece, right? And this is going to be a challenge to Bar Pada again. Okay. Im gilech yom shishim chaser echad yatsa. We have a Mishnah that tells us that if he shaved on the 60th day, minus one, okay? In other words, the 59th day, he's yatsa, he's fulfilled his obligation. Okay? Sheyom shloshim ole lo min haminyan. That the 30th day, okay, which Bar Pada we said held was rabbinic, not the Oraita, still counts towards his
Second term.
his term of Nazarethship. Okay, all right, right. Sheyom shloshim oleh lo minyan.
Last day and the first day.
No, this time it's just the
Second, that the 30th day counts for both terms.
No, not according
It's
to
the
Bar Pada.
30th day.
Well, we'll see. Bishlem Rav Matna. That's acceptable for Rav Matna to say that the 30th day counts for both terms. Okay? Necha, that's fine. Ela Bar Pada. Okay? But regarding to Bar Pada, Lamali. Why might that be the case? Okay? Ha'amar shloshim chaser achad. There where we say that it was 30 days, he's the one who said, or rather, isn't he really the one who said that it's 29 days? Okay, okay, that he did not need day 30 for both, right? Amar lach, he would tell you as follows. Ana nami ahasamche. Okay, that I also rely on this. In other words, I use that as a further proof to my argument that Nazirut is really only 29 days. Okay, all right, and I don't need the 30 for both. Okay, so what happens there? By claiming that 29 days are enough, okay, in a sense, all right, that's my proof that that's 29 days, and only need day 30 really for the sacrifices and the haircut. Okay, it's not. But now we get another mission. Misha Amar, Hareini Nazir. Okay, and in this case, we're saying, all right, one who says, I am a Nazareth and became Tameh, Yom Shloshim on the 30th day. Soter et hakol. It obliviates or nullifies the entire 30-day period. Okay, so that person, according to that Mishnah, would have to bring his two special offerings, okay, as a Tameh Nazir, right? And then what? Okay, start all over. Right. However, says our Gemara, Bishlema l'Rav Matna, again, that's acceptable to Rav Matna Necha. That's understandable, okay? Because he's held all along that it's a 30-day term for Nazirithship. And if you become Tameh, even on that 30th day, which is still part of that term, it wipes it out. Okay? Ela lebar pada kasha, but for bar pada, that's problematic to say that it wipes it all out. Okay? If one became Tameh on the 30th day, because he's the one who claimed it was only 29 days. And the 30th day was rabbinic, only necessary to roll over, to have part of, okay, to do your sacrifices in here.
You have over and over that Stam Zero Shloshim Yoim. Where did we get that principle from?
Let's see. Let's see. Let's go over the next document. Amar lach bar pada. Bar pada, however, is going to respond and try to give his rationale. Amos Sefer, I would say, look at the end of that Mishnah, okay, where we have another example. And this is a Mishnah yet to come, by the way, right? Rabbi Eliezer Omen, Eino Soter Elishiva, according to a machloket between Chachamim and Rabbi Eliezer, okay? It's the Chachamim that hold that if one becomes Tameh on the 30th day, it wipes out the whole thing, right? One sec, okay? But Rabbi Eliezer is saying, no, what happens is the person has to wait to become Tahor, okay? And then, yes, you want to add? Okay.
Because what he's talking about is you have to wait 7 days till you get rid of your
Or Tuma, yes, that's what we
before
say.
you could bring your korbanah.
Right.
So in effect, he's
So-
saying that nothing is right.
Well, what he's saying is the 30 days are not nullified. You have a 7-day waiting period, and then, okay, where you become Tahor, and then you bring your offerings and everything and heck.
I was trying to talk to Zev for a moment.
I'll give it to you later after
Alright.
here.
Okay, thanks a lot.
I'll let you, okay? So that's his argument. Isa keda'atak shloshim ba'ina. If you're going to say that, like Barn Tana, that it's 30 days, and we said that's the case, that's what we require, Nistor Kuhu, then based on that Mishnah, we should obliterate the whole 30 days. Kasava Rabbi Eliezer. Okay, all right, even though that would seem to imply then that Rabbi Eliezer must hold that it is 29 days. Not only that, that the tumor that occurred after, it may have occurred after his, on that 30th day, it doesn't count at all against his Nazarethship, all right? If that's the case, okay? And that therefore it's 29, and Bar Pada might point to him as an example of 29. And not only that, but that would imply that Rabbi Eliezer also holds Miktsat Hayom Kekulo, okay? That part of the day is like that. It's not. However, we now have a challenge to Rabbi Eliezer's view with another mission. Hareini Nazir Me'ayom. Individual claims that they are a Nazareth for 100 days. Nitma Yom Me'ah. The person becomes Tameh on the 100th day. Okay. What happens is the Mishnah. Soter et hakol. According to the Mishnah here, it removes all 100 days. Garnished. Okay. All right. So what happens? Right. Rabbi Eliezer Omer, what does he say in that particular Mishnah? Eino soter ela shloshim yom. Excuse me. That it only nullifies 30 days. Okay. So why is that only 30 days? The Gemara is bothered by this. Okay? Because it's using logic to tell us. Ve'isal gadat. And if you were of the opinion, Sava Rabbi Eliezer Miktsat Hayom Kekulo, that Rabbi Eliezer, as we seem to imply earlier, holds that part of the day is like the whole day. Nistor Shiva, he should give the same answer here for the 100 days that he gave for the 30 days.
Just get rid of his tumor.
Right? Just namely, right? That it does count. You just still have to wait that same 7-day period to become Tameh. Remove your tumor, become Tahor, and then you bring your offering and haircut. Okay?
And he's not forfeiting anything.
And he wouldn't be forfeiting anything, right? Sir. Okay? Ve'ilo savar miktsat hayom kekulo. And if we're going to argue that Rabbi Eliezer does not hold part of the day is like the whole day, listor kuhu, shouldn't he then agree with Rabbanan and with the Resha of this particular Mishnah that the whole 100 days is fallen, okay, is gone? So what happens? Le'olam lo amrinen miktsat hayom kekulo. Okay, what we're saying here, that therefore we completely say that according to Rabbi Eliezer, right, that part of the day is not the whole. Right? Ihachi listor kuho. If that's the case, right, it should nullify the entire term of 100 days. Amar Reish Lakish. So Reish Lakish tries to come and, so to speak, explain. Hi, right? I knew to Amad the Rabbi Eliezer. This is the reasoning that Rabbi Eliezer might have. Amar Krat. He bases it on a pasuk. Zot Torat HaNazir b'yom milaot yemei Nizro. Okay? Again, remember, Bamidbar chapter 6 is the entire section in the Torah dealing with Nazirus. Okay? So this is the law, the rule, the instruction regarding Nazarethship. Regarding the completion day, I'll use that term for the moment, of his Nazarethship. Okay? HaTorah Amra Nitma B'yom Milaot. The Torah then seems to be saying that if one becomes tameh on the day of completion, tain lo Torat Nazir, give him the, and I'm going to read into the Gemara here, give him the full or complete, okay, standard term of his Nazirate. Okay,
Standard.
right? So in other words, that would be the case. Lema kitanai. Shall we therefore say then that this machloket between Rav Matana and Bar Pada is similar to a machloket of Tanaim, namely regarding the phrase ad milaot hayamim, until the completion of one's days. Shom'eni mi'ut yamim shnayim. Okay, what I learned from that phrase is, since it says hayamim, that means minimally 2. Okay, which would seem to imply that the minimum amount of Nazirat could be 2 days. Talmud Loma, however, further on, okay, what happens, right? The text says, Kadosh Yihye Gadol Pera, okay, that he's sanctified and will be, the hair will grow wild, long, etc. Ein Gidul Se'ah Pachot Mishloshim. And we know then for that requirement to be fulfilled, hair does not grow long unless it takes 30 days. We'll get to that. We'll get there. Not there yet. Okay? So notice in the drasha of that word, we have Kadosh Yihye, Yud, Hey, Yud, Hey. Now what happens? Okay, that drasha, Divrei Rabbi Yoshia, that was the view of Rabbi Yoshia. However, because we have a drasha already from that part of a pasuk, okay, we're going to see that somebody disagrees and does a different drasha. Okay, Rabbi Yonatan Omer, he says as follows: Eino tzarich, I don't need, or one does not need, to darshan the pasuk in that manner. Okay, in other words, one part of the pasuk versus another part of the pasuk. All right, harehu omer ad mila'ot hayamim. Okay, but I have the phrase until the completion of the days. I elu hein yamim setzrichim lamalaot. What then are these days? What then are these days that need completion? Have omer shloshim. I get from them 30 days. Now, okay. Now, where do I normally think of as 30 days? We're going to see. The Gemara is going to prove that it's going to deal only with the concept of a month. But, by the way, what could be another drush? If I take Kadosh Yihye and I have Yud is 10, Hey is 5, Yud is 10, and Hey is 5, what does that give me?
6.
No, 30. Right? 10, 5, 10, 5. Okay, that's 30. Okay.
So that's the number of growth.
Okay, so that would be the number that tells me for hair to become heavy, I need that number, and that might give me the reason why Stam Nazirut is Shloshim. Let's go on. Okay? So therefore, my love isn't the case the following. Rav Matana, the Amar Rabbi Yoshia. I may have thought if I'm comparing the machloket of Rav Matna and Bar Pada to a machloket of Tanaim, namely that Rav Matna holds like Rabbi Yoshia, the Bar Pada, the Amar Rabbi Yonatan, and that Bar Pada holds like Rabbi Yonatan. However, Amar Lach Rav Matna, he would answer us as follows: Kuli Alma Shloshim Ba'in. Now everybody agrees that we need 30. We said at the outset that Bar Pada also counts 30. All he does is say 29 is the Oraita, number 30 is Rabbanan, implying that he still needs to bring his korbanos and his haircut on the 30th day. Okay? So what happens? Vahacha, but here, ba'ad, regarding the phrase ad milaot hayamim, they're arguing about the word ad, namely, va'ad bichlal plige. Do they include up to, means up to and including, or only up to? Okay? Va'ad bichlal plige. Rabbi Yoshia savar, Rabbi Yoshia must hold when it says ad, up to, velo ad bichlal, but not up to and including. But Rabbi Yonatan savar ad va'ad bichlal, and Rabbi Yonatan must hold it's up to and including that day. Okay, and that is not an uncommon argument other places in the Gemara as well. Okay, so now let's finish up. Amar Mar, says the Gemara, ilu hein yamin shetrichim lemalot. If we're talking about when we say days, that's what we're referring to in terms of being of completion. Have omer shloshim. It's clear that we're talking about 30 days of a lunar month. Okay, ve'ema Shabbat. Wait a second. Maybe if I'm referring to days, I'm referring to a week. After all, when we count a week, we count days also. Shabbat, me'ika chasiruta. Is it possible with a week we would have a lack, we would be missing?
Sometimes it's 29.
Right, right? In other words, we know that regularly the months are either 29 days or 30 days in the calendar. All right? And I'm just going to go over a little bit on top of Amud Zayin. What? Yeah. Okay. Ve'ema shana. Fine. Okay. Weeks don't have shorter periods, right? They're all 7 days. Okay. Well, maybe a year, asks the Gemara. Maybe that's what we're referring to as counting days for completion. Mi maninan liyome. Do we usually use days? Okay, we all know, according to the English calendar, 365 days. Okay. However, do we normally count a year by days? Vaha. Okay. Vaha Rabbanan, the Khazariam, and the rabbis of Caesarea were known to have said, Minayin she'ein monin yamim l'shanim. How do we know that we do not normally use days as the way of counting for a year? Shne'amar l'chodshei hashana is based on a pasuk for the months of the year. Okay, chodashim mechashvin l'shanim v'lo yamim l'shanim. That we normally count a year based on months and not based on days. Okay, right? And that's where we'll stop for today. Okay.
12:30.
Okay, Michael, we'll see.